Just about the most important thing for anyone trying to play fingerstyle guitar is getting your right hand coordination dialed in. And especially when you're playing alternating thumb blues like I just was in that opening example, figuring out how to get your fingers to do what you want while your thumb stays consistent on the low strings is one of the biggest challenges. Today's lesson focuses on the very first exercise you should try to start getting that coordination together. If you've been stuck doing pattern picking or you just can't get your thumb and fingers to do what they're supposed to, this is the place to start. Now that opening example I just played where I was improvising on the chord changes to St. James Infirmary is one of the things we're working on this month inside my membership, the Fingerstyle 5. And these are the kinds of exercises that I teach to get you from playing alternating thumb pattern picking to where you can play melodies and licks over an alternating thumb. If you'd like to learn more about that and sign up, check out the link below or go to fretboardconfidential.com. In the meantime, let's get started with today's lesson. We're going to do this exercise in A minor. So we're just going to start with an A minor chord, and the thumb is going to alternate between the 5th string, the 4th string, the 6th string, and the 4th string. So that's what it's doing on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the root, the 5th, the 5th, and the 5th of A minor. Next, we're going to just start putting one note over that alternating thumb. And we're going to start with the index finger playing the root at the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And so what we're going to do is every time the thumb is playing a bass note, the index finger is going to play a melody note. So also just on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, even if you just did that and stopped there, that would really help to start to dial in what you're doing with your picking hand, because it's looking at the bass and the fingers as two different things. Right? The thumb is doing this, and then the index finger is doing this. So already we're thinking about it not like a pattern, but like a bass and something independent happening on top. So the next thing we can do is play on particular beats, not on all the beats. So we could play just on 1 with the index finger. Or we could play on beat 2. 1, 2, 3. Or on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Or on beat 4. And again, that's just a deliberate practice of putting particular notes in particular places, which gets you into the idea of doing specific things with melody notes while the bass remains consistent. The next thing we can do is play 8th notes. So playing on the ands, or in between all the strong beats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If we play on all of those with the index finger, we get this. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so, again, being deliberate, playing a pinch on every strong beat and then playing an index finger note on an and in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, like that. Just like with quarter notes, we can be deliberate about which 8th notes we play and which ones we don't. So again, we could play on just 1 and let the bass continue through the measure. We could play 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. We could play 2 and 3 and. 2 and 3 and. There's kind of an endless number of things you can do, because once you've done all of the 1 and or 2 and or 1 and 2 and or all those combinations, you can then of course play quarter notes and 8th notes together. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 scramble all that up however you want as well. And finally, you can start playing eighth notes on the offbeats or the ands without necessarily playing a pinch on a downbeat. So you could have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and this is where things start to get more musical, because a lot of blues phrasing starts on an offbeat. So you could play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you'd have a classic kind of phrasing that for a long pickup phrase into the next measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or a shorter one that starts on, say, the and of 3. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 2, 3. And of course, so far we've only been doing this on one note on one string. But the idea is, if you can acquire this kind of control rhythmically over what your fingers are doing while your thumb is staying steady, then you can start to move through different notes and apply different rhythms to them. Right, so there's that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and rhythm that we just played. Or if you're playing on the downbeat, so what is that? That's just 1, 2, 3 and 4 and, which if you broke it down and played just on one string, you'd have 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So all these rhythms can be turned into different kinds of licks. And if you're trying to come up with licks, you can start with a rhythm like that, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and then see how many other things you can come up with. That. So this is an incredibly effective way to start getting that all-important right-hand coordination together. And it's also a goldmine as far as coming up with ideas of your own. If you can start to isolate these rhythms that you're doing between your thumb and your fingers, then just applying that to something as simple as the A minor pentatonic scale can cough up all these different ideas that you can then use to improvise with, or it can just strengthen your sense of melody and your ability to put melodies of tunes over an alternating thumb bass. One of the things that we do inside my Fingerstyle 5 membership is every time we've worked on a song long enough to learn the melody and the basic arrangement, the next thing we do is dive into a whole bunch of these kinds of rhythm exercises so that you can start to come up with licks and ideas for improvising on the songs that you can play the melody to, which is one of the best ways to start creating a complete arrangement of a tune, especially if you're focused on playing instrumental music. You can learn to play the melody, and then you can learn how to improvise on the tune. And between that and maybe a little intro vamp and a couple of other little arranging ideas, suddenly you've got a complete version of a tune. And if you do sing, there's nothing better than singing the melody and then playing an instrumental version of the melody on the guitar, maybe doing a little bit of soloing as well. So these skills of just getting the thumb organized and putting a few different specific rhythmic moves on top of it have these huge implications, and it's one of the best tools you can have and one of the best exercises you can do, even starting really simply just with quarter notes and eighth notes, for developing your technique, getting your fingerstyle together, and having that kind of coordination that you need to play almost any kind of fingerstyle blues. So if you'd like to take tunes like St. James Infirmary or Freight Train or How Long Blues or Key to the Highway and learn not only how to play the tunes themselves, but how to improvise on them, check out my membership, the Fingerstyle 5, at the link below. If you got a question or a comment about today's lesson, please leave it for me down below. I would love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.